to the channel. My name is Crawford and this is Virginia's for Lowriders. We are currently working on body dropping an 80s Chevy Caprice. The car is already low. It already lays frame. GM did some terrible design stuff on this. The ADD has been real lately. Parts problems, wintertime problems, can't get the other projects in or done. So the natural thing to do is completely change the projects to something that's kind of a pretty big undertaking, like cutting what feels like a mile of floor out in order to body drop a car of this size. Last week, we made pretty good progress. We got the entire front clip off, 70% of the interior out, and we're working towards getting this thing completely stripped and cutting it. We will be cutting something by the end of this video, promise. We need to get the AC box out. We need to get the dashboard out. The rest of the seat for the back all have to come out first because they're in the way and flammable. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to try. I talked a whole lot trying to explain exactly what we're going to be doing the video previous to this one. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out. We're going to get into it so I don't ramble on for 10 minutes, 20 minutes straight or whatever it was. And we're going to start with getting this dash out. I already started pulling bolts out. Figured I'd get the camera out and actually record something before I forget. But I appreciate y'all watching. Make sure you subscribe. We're doing a giveaway once we hit 4,000 subscribers. And all you'll have to do is subscribe. Go check out the subscription giveaway thing a couple videos ago. It's very simple. Subscribe, chance to win merch, stickers, and then later on we're going to be giving away other stuff. But I'm going to stop myself here and just say, like we said last week, if anybody needs to blame anybody for me not getting the other projects done, you can blame UPS, FedEx, USPS, and the main one, James. Blame James for this. Blame James for this happening, because it's his fault. If it wasn't for him and pushing me to ask a whole bunch of people on Facebook if this is a good idea, and they're all enablers. Blame them. Just don't blame me, because I don't know. It's not my fault. Blame James.
Crazy that the motor's not covered in oil.
It doesn't leak.
Well,
I resealed it when I got it.
oh,
Just,
okay. I didn't know that.
I pulled the intake off.
You didn't pull the timing cover and all that shit off.
There shouldn't be anything else. Got a little ground there. Oh.
Oh, that's
scratching myself.
Oh, intro, right?
Me hanging
It's
through the Firewall.
like I got the I'm panning the camera right here, and then you just pop out. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Crawford. As you can see, we let ADD take the wheel.
Well, it's another day. I've been out here getting after it for most of the day. I'm still in disassembly mode. We're getting pretty close to cutting stuff up. I still have the hydraulics in the car, but last night I got the heater core box out, which is a gigantic hole. Like, we measured it. It's like almost 2 feet wide. Been going over, trying to figure out exactly what I need to keep out of this, which isn't very much because this car has had an electronic carburetor on it. It was an absolute garbage. Never recommend. Terrible idea that GM had again. Smog pumps, which ruin engines. Electronic carburetors that suck up smog pump crap, which ruin engines. It was terrible. All of that had been removed, and there is an ECU for the carburetor, which just sounds stupid in itself. So most of this is going to go. I need to keep, well, I really don't even need to keep the signal wire for the alternator because it's not necessary because the gauge cluster doesn't work. I need to basically wire in my own source for the starter, and I can do away with all of this. The only thing that's tied into any of this is a signal wire going to the HEI, which I put a HEI distributor in it. This car did not come HEI. There's a signal wire to the alternator and a signal wire to the starter. Basically, all of that can be disabled, and I can run 3 wires into the dash and tie everything into the ignition and the fuse block. And I can do away with all of this. There's already a pile of wires and hoses and everything that's here. What I've been doing for most of today is just getting game plans together. It's a huge undertaking to do all of this to where basically you don't have to fix mess ups. It happens. Sometimes you'll cut a place that doesn't need to be cut, or you just need to cut it and chip away at it until you get to the frame rail, which I'm hoping I can just keep at the chipping away part and not the mistaking part. But I've been trying to figure out exactly what we need. I ordered ball joints. Ball joints are crap. I ordered the heater core. I ordered a universal one off of Amazon that has a bunch of ports on it. That way I can plumb it into the defrost and try to have some stuff that kind of faces you and your legs. Outside of that, I don't need creature comforts in this car. I've had it for 5 or 6 years now, and it's never had AC, and it doesn't bother me. I don't know if you've ever had a tinted windshield, but tinted windshield and black windows, it goes a long way in the summertime. Plus that whole 2+70, just 2 windows down, 70 miles an hour, which, well, we'll say 2+45. 70 is sketchy in this car. Regardless, I don't need all the creature comforts. It's a fair weather car. I actually find myself driving this more in the winter time than I do any other time of the year. I don't know what it is. Probably just because I don't know. It's weird. I need to order new cylinders. I think I mentioned that last time. The rear ones are way too long. I'll show you that, where we've gotten. Got the whole interior out of it. Big old ball of wires that I need to go through and to jack the car up. But oh, the cylinder actually fell down. The cylinder is right there. The cylinders are long enough that they sit right here. So that's going to get even exaggerated more when the car goes down. So I need to order a slightly shorter cylinder. I think those are like, let's just say 10s. So I have to order a set of 8s. Same thing with the front. I either need to go to 90s and keep these, which I'm hoping will work, so I don't have to spend the money. If I do a 90, it'll basically make all of this assembly lower than it is now. A lot of planning. I got a list together of stuff I need to order. And with my luck, as far as it's been going the last 4 or 5 months on parts, I need to order all that this week and get it coming. That way I'm prepared and hopefully the stuff shows up. So I've been going back and forth with the intake. I think that I'm going to run a filtered lid, a shorter side intake. This is actually a drop down lid as it is, or bottom. As you can see, it's already recessed, so it sits down further onto the carburetor as far as you can go. Like there's no room. It'll hit the choke that I don't even use, but I'm still figuring this out. I really hope it doesn't come down to it, but if I have to, I can change the intake, gain another 3/4 of an inch to an inch just in removing the adapter spacer that's on here for that carburetor to fit this factory intake. It's a lot. It's a lot to do, so I think I'm going to call it a night, even though I didn't really show much of it. There's a lot of just messing around and trying to figure this out. I got the measurements for the radiator, so I can order an electric fan. I just need to go inside and spend a bunch of money, which is kind of expected. It's not a whole lot. I do have a subscriber that recommended a steering shaft. He said, G-Body guys, remove this whole steering shaft, and they run a steering shaft out of a Jeep. It has a universal joint on both ends, and they're adjustable. So that might actually be the option that I go with for this. So I'm going to look into that. I appreciate it. I'm going to put his name at the bottom of the screen because I forgot, because it's so many people that message me. Yeah, we'll pick this back up tomorrow, hopefully. I'm going to try and work on this every single day when I get out of work, because we got to get it done. It's a lot of work. I took that massive Sawzall blade, which is almost like a foot long if you add in the tang portion of it, and did a test cut on the Firewall. I think it's gonna work. Just saying. I don't wanna jinx it yet, but I think I've came up with an idea of how to tackle the rear, and we're gonna try to fudge it. We're gonna attempt to basically eliminate, if it works, hopefully hours and hours and hours worth of cutting and welding. I'll get into that later on, probably Friday night when I really have some time to get like filthy dirty, which I'm going to start getting disgusting today. There is massive amounts of seam sealer on every part of this car. I don't think that they had a seam sealer budget and they were just going wild back in the day. Whoever was installing the seam sealer portion, that dude did not care about a budget at all. This stuff is so gooped on here all the way around this car. It is extremely thick. Like normal stuff nowadays is nice little 1-inch line. This dude's, I don't know what he was doing or thinking, but I did a test cut. Getting straight away here. The corner is cut. So what I did is I took that big Sawzall blade, cut into the Firewall, and then just ran it down all along here. I decided I don't want to do that basically in all the door jambs. I want to try and make it look a little nicer. That way it's easier to weld back together. But in order to do all that, I need to take all this seam sealer off because we're going to need to weld all of this back together. The Sawzall is going to come in handy on basically all of the jam areas. So in here, it's going to get weird, but I think we have a game plan. I think tonight I'm going to take a combination. I got to figure out what takes it off the best. Each car is a little different. Not all of them remove that stuff as easily. Sometimes a wire brush, like on a grinder, or sometimes a flap disc, or I have to play with it basically and figure it out. But try and keep this, again, try to get as much work done as possible. But some cool stuff showed up. The first set of wheels that I ordered is here. These are for the Ranger. I said before that we're going to run the 14s, and I think I will. These are going to be the play wheels. They may just stay on there. They look good. We're going to do a little wheel reveal. I need to open them all up, make sure none of them are damaged, so I can contact that company, and hopefully, fingers crossed, they're all good looking. The first one I pulled out looked good. The knockoffs look good. We're going to open up the rest of them real quick, and then we're going to get back to cutting stuff apart. Right. So I opened the first one already, but I didn't take it out of the way, package all the way. So we need to check it over, make sure there's no imperfections. These are unnecessary, 13 by 7, 72 spoke cross-laced wheel. Trying to save these little bags so I can put them back in there. That way they don't get screwed up for the time being. I went with the Remington touring tires. A lot of people hate on Chinas, but brand new Chinas do look pretty darn good. Read a bunch of reviews, decided to take a chance. People were saying that the finish on these wasn't that great. I'm going to say you pay what you get for, and these don't look bad. Hopefully they hold up. It's a pretty good looking little wheel. It's got a little bit of the tire soap on there, but I'll bring you in for a closer look real quick. It's not bad. It has a good looking wheel. Hopefully they hold up to me beating the crap out of the Ranger. Again, these are not for the Caprice. Those ones haven't been, I guess they manufacture them or assemble them before sending them out. So the Caprice ones are not the same. They're not 100 spokes. They're not 72 spokes. You'll have to wait to see exactly what I order for it, but I think what I ordered for it's going to fit the car a little bit better. We could even throw these on there in the time being because I don't have any 13s because I took the tires off the rusty ones. So we might use these as mock-up, which is cool because lowrider things and how easily they are transferable. Let's go ahead and open the rest of them so we can get back to work. Pretty good. I've ordered a good bit of wheels in my life, and the last couple sets I got from Fitment Industries and Custom Offsets, which is like the same company, I guess. Sister companies of some sort. Their packaging is like incredible. It's crazy how well their packaging is. I'm not a fan of this. This is a wheel in a cardboard box wrapped in a trash bag. So I'm crossing my toes right now. We don't have any issues. Looking good. Not the greatest quality in the world, but I'm happy with them for the price. I am more willing, I don't like ruining anything I own, but I'm more willing to beat on something that costs a couple $100 versus a Dayton $1,000. So at least until I get okay at hopping and learn the ins and outs, we're gonna be riding on some fresh, brand new Chinas. All right, I've tried a couple different things. I didn't figure y'all needed to see me go through all that. The easiest way I found with this stuff, because it doesn't have any gumminess because it's so old. Sometimes they have like a little bit of a tack to them, or tack to it, and it doesn't come off very easily. Got one of these cheapy scraper things from Home Depot. I sharpened it to where it's kind of sketchy sharp, and it's as simple as just peeling this stuff off, and it goes pretty quick as long as it doesn't try and dig into the metal, which it does. But so I will go through and basically remove 90% of the seam sealer in here, because pretty much everywhere there's seam sealer is where I need to grind or need to cut. So I'm going to go through and see how far I can get before I give up for the end of the night. And I'll see y'all again tomorrow, and we'll just keep on chipping away at this. I feel like it's like day 20. Sorry for the previous clips. I have been extremely tired this week. But we're back out here. We're doing stuff. Last night, I finished getting a really large portion of the seam sealer off. Like 90-ish%. At least on the sides. I haven't done the firewall, and I'm not sure where we're going to cut in the rear. But I got all this cleaned up. So that was a combination of the scraper, and I always watched YouTube videos and thought, like, it's weird that people use drills with things attached to them, until I've tried attaching one of those little circular wire wheels from Harbor Freight onto any kind of air tool that I have, and a bunch of random stuff. And for whatever reason, I guess it's the torque of the drill, it does work, and it works very, very well. So you can get this done with some cheap stuff, because that pack of like 10 things from Harbor Freight is like $3, I think, for those little wire wheels. But we're looking pretty good, like we did in the beginning of the video. I think that tonight I need to start cutting some stuff again. So I'm going to take that really long Sawzall blade, and I only have one of them. We're going to see how far it goes. It really wasn't happy with cutting the other stuff the last time, so I don't know how long it's going to last. We're going to see if I can cut the driver's side now. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to set it up on the inside, so hopefully y'all can see the Sawzall blade coming through rather than just me and blocking the camera. I'm going to run it, which I'm going to bend this over a little bit because it's kind of bent. I'm going to run it straight up through here, all the way up. Because my cross cut will be somewhere around here. I'm going to have to remove this bracket. I'd like to do it under the steering. That way I don't have to reconfigure any of that. So I'm going to run the blade up to at least halfway through that. Yeah, that's the plan. We're going to do that before I run out of energy again. It's already like 7 o'clock. So on the inside, since the blade's going to come up from the bottom of the floor, I don't want the blade, it happened on the other side, the blade started bouncing around off of the inside of this. So to try to help mitigate the damage of the only foot-long blade that I have, so that way, I'm going to try and go to the store after work tomorrow and pick up hopefully they got like a 4-pack or something. I'm going to cut along here and then come up probably just underneath this little hole thing there and take out this chunk of metal. That way it's out of the way while I'm cutting from the firewall in. Hopefully it works out better than it did on the other side. Well, that sucks. I found 2 more, so wish these guys luck. You can see, I'm not sure if you can really see it on camera. You can see the daylight all the way through there. I don't know how else I would do this without those big blades. I don't know if it would, I guess it would be possible, but I don't have any other tools that would fit inside of there. So luckily I had that laying around so I could give it a shot. I don't even know where I got them, but they worked out pretty well because that was a very easy cut. So I'm hoping I don't have to cut into this pocket later on. If I do, it'll only be a little bit, hopefully. But I'm hoping that this just rests down here and then I can just get welded back together. Not sure if that's going to work, but we're crossing our fingers. So basically, if you look all along here, you can see the spot welds. We're basically just undoing what they did from the factory. This entire floor pan was held in through here. We're pretty much cutting everywhere where the factory put it together at and screwing it up pretty much. But I'm going to leave the middles for now. I think I'm going to leave this section of floor from here. I'll probably come through with the grinder by the end of the weekend, but from here to the back, what I think I want to do is try to release the back before this end of this video. I have an idea, like I was saying earlier. I've been thinking about this every day since I took the front end apart. Exactly how we're going to do the rear. I think I'm going to treat the rear as if this was a truck. I know that sounds kind of weird because obviously it's a car and doesn't come apart. I have an idea where, I don't know if I can explain this to where it's going to make sense. I want to cut the entire floor out, but I don't want to cut the trunk out. The way that the pumps are mounted, the pumps will just basically get higher in the trunk floor. The trunk floor will go down. My thoughts on this, bear with me here. I'm going to try to explain this. We're going to cut the entire perimeter of the floor out. I want from here, pretty much like this area, we're going to section 3 inches out of the firewall. I want to section an inch or 1.5 inches out of here. I want to leave all of this intact and lower the body around this section down. I don't know if that makes sense. I ordered, which they're supposed to be here today or tomorrow, I ordered different thicknesses of body mounts, like universal polyurethane just pucks. The body mounts that are on this are complete junk. They're squished. They have like a metal insert that's rusty. They're trash. I don't think changing it to any size, any height polyurethane mount is going to affect the way that this car handles, drives, feels, or anything. It's probably going to help because, like I said, the mounts on this are garbage. So in doing all of that, there's roughly, I don't know if the camera picks it up, there's roughly about 2 inches between the frame and the body in the rear. This is a pinch weld. It's kind of hard to tell because there's like 100 years of seam sealer and undercoating, I'm guessing. Some kind of nasty, old, hard undercoating. I need to redo my exhaust. Back in the day, which I'll add pictures, when I first built this car, the rear end basically bottoms out. There's no room. I don't even run a coil spring in this car. I know if you're a lowrider guy watching this doesn't make any sense to you. You don't have to run a coil spring if you run accumulators. And it rides better than factory. There's no coil spring in here whatsoever. And it's been like that since 2019. I didn't have room to run the exhaust because that rear end is all the way up in there. There's not even, there's basically just this much between the rear end and everything that's up there. No room for exhaust. So what I did, and what these are, this is all going to get cut out, and I'll show pictures of what I did. The exhaust runs over the frame rail and comes out over top of the frame rail into the fender well. It's been like this basically again since 2019. I thought it was cool. I kind of want to mix it up. It's going to be in the way. I'm going to have to raise this notch up to here basically and cut into the tub, and hopefully the seat fits back in there. I've been thinking about this all week too. I'm going to cut this off. We're going to remove all of this stuff in here. I think I still want to come back out of here later, but I kind of want to run it across this arch. I think that the wheels have enough offset. I can run the exhaust up in here somewhere and make it come out back here. This is cool unless you're sitting in traffic. Again, this is a fair weather car, so you drive it with the windows down most of the time when it's cool outside, and everything's hunky-dory until you're sitting at a stoplight for an extended amount of time, and this kind of just drifts into the cab. It's not terrible when you're driving. Sitting still, it's pretty awful. Your eyes start to bleed. You start to feel woozy, you know, like there's normal signs of you dying at a stoplight. That's a lot to take in. That's what we're going to try and tackle. It's going to be a lot of cutting. We're going to see how much we can get done before we got to post the video. Basically, I think tonight I'm going to lay some stuff out. I'm going to take some more measurements. I pulled the brakes apart. I'm going to get measurements for this. For whatever reason, you have to know the size of the rear drum so that you know what size front rotors to purchase, which is weird. This car was drug out of the woods. I never even changed the brakes. I've slapped new pads on those old rotors, and I've been driving it like that since then. Never shaked, never squealed, never did anything weird. It just, I don't know, it never bothered me, but now that we're throwing spokes back on it, spokes create a lot of stress on studs, I think it's time to finally put some new stuff on there. So we're going to get a really big Rock Auto order together. All the bushings and the 4-link, which y'all let me know. I kind of want to build a 4-link for this. Maybe not before mini nats, maybe later on. We're going to use the factory length and sizes and stuff, but create arches and more clearance and more lowrider type things. But if you want to see me do a 4-link, let me know in the comments. I know this is a lot of talking. Again, it's a lot to explain. But I'm going to take a bunch of measurements. I'm going to order a bunch of parts. We're probably not going to get anything more cut tonight. I feel pretty good about making that one cut. That's a huge step in the progress towards this thing touching the ground. And yeah, that's what we're doing. We're going to spend a lot of money on Rock Auto. I put a bunch of stuff in the cart already, and it's up there. I'm going to have to sell a kidney soon or something. I don't know.
Hello guys. As you all know, this project is my fault. But hear me out. I want to tell y'all a story about this car. We were just working on it, laughing and joking about how neglected this vehicle is because, hey, it's a $500 car, man. I pulled it out of the woods. I don't care about it. So we changed the spark plugs. They're probably about 8 years overdue, but I don't know if you can see that. All the oil, and they reek of gasoline. This thing reeks of gas. So we're just joking around about that, and the fact that he busted a heater line one day on the way to work, didn't have any water to put back in the radiator, but there was a puddle in the parking lot, and he scooped water out of the puddle and put it in here, and that was what, 3 years ago? 3 years ago. So, but I'm supposed to let you all know he does take care of his other vehicles. He does. I mean, he does his truck, the Mazda, the Crown, the Lincoln. Well, the Lincoln, it's on the edge. He changed the oil, but it burns so much that you don't really need to change it. So you just add, add. Yeah, it's a two-stroke. So, but I just want to come on here and say thank you guys for being mean to me in the comments about making it my fault. I haven't slept in a week, but yeah, we're moving right along here. He's getting after it. It's all my fault.
It's only been 10 days.
10 days.
Coming together.
Look at that.
Okay, so the thing that's weird about this, y'all know that we stopped working on the Ranger temporarily so we could work on this. Parts have shown up for this immediately. I ordered Rock Auto stuff 2 days ago. It told me it was going to be here on Wednesday next week. It showed up in 2 days. It makes no sense. We got all of the bushings for the front end, the rear end, and the brakes all the way around. And Heim joints U-joints, all kinds of stuff. It makes no sense at all. I got the heater core thing came in already. I just ordered that. None of this makes sense. I think it's James. He talked to, I think he just called around to the UPS and FedEx and Amazon and whoever, and just say, hey, put a hold on all of the Ranger parts, and that way we can get this Caprice in here.
It's like the Emperor's New Groove. He's like, I love it when a plan comes together.
Yes, we're still blaming James 100%. We're gonna do a little bit more work, but I know it's kind of cutting it short. This has been a long video already. I think we're going to stop here. Yesterday, I did come out. Let me show y'all. I showed it a little bit in the video. I did trim all of this to see if we're going to have enough room, and I think my idea is going to work. We made the cut back here. Started cutting along here. I think my plan of dropping the rear is going to work. I got the bushings in. That's another thing. Those weren't supposed to be here until Tuesday. The bushings that I talked about. I'll show you all real quick. Here is an example of that. It's like 1/2 inch thick. I got some 1/4 inch square shims. Not sure if these are all going to work. I have some universal mounts. I think we can make all that work. But we're going to stop here. Because again, we're almost up to 40 minutes.
Nobody even wants to hang out with us for 40 minutes.
Yeah, nobody wants to hang out with us for 40 whole minutes. So we're going to stop here. We're going to continue to work tonight. But I don't want to rush and try to get all that edited like I've been doing in the past. I'm trying to get better. We're trying to accumulate footage and post it earlier than normal. That way y'all can actually watch it on Sunday when you have free time and not on Monday night whenever you got home from work and don't feel like doing anything. So I'm going to stop it here. I appreciate y'all watching. Don't forget to go back, watch the giveaway video, subscribe if you're not subscribed, watch the other 100 and something videos of the other builds that we have going on, and check back in. Next weekend, the body will be cut by the end of this weekend. I need to go in the garage and find a bunch of metal to weld to the bottom of the frame to catch the body when it goes down. That's what I'm saying. We're going to stop it here because all that stuff's going to take some time, but we're going to stop it here. I've said it like 20 times. I'll see y'all next Sunday. Thank you for watching.